Hello, welcome to our webinar on mental health and performing artists. Today, some of us from our IADM's mental health work group will explore sensitivity and resilience and how it might affect us. My name is Dr. Nancy Kadel, and I am your host for today. We hope this webinar speaks not only to professional dancers, but also offers insight to those of you who care for dancers in your clinical practice and for those who teach dancers who aspire to a career in dance. We're hoping that today's conversation is helpful for many of you, but we also realize that there is no one-size-fits-all solution. If any of you out there are struggling and you need more support than we can offer in today's webinar, please reach out to your healthcare professionals or find one of your local crisis hotlines that you can get some assistance. So we recently received a question from a dancer. Here, let me read it. I'm a member of a small company. We only survive donation to donation. I don't even know if I'm going to be in this city. I don't know where I will find the strength to get through all this. So I was wondering, Linda, do you have any responses for this dance?
I'd be happy to. We have this wonderful term in psychology that has been used very frequently in all domains now called resilience. And I'd like to just make sure this dancer knows that we all have the ability to learn resilience, and we've all been able to use our coping devices to adapt to situations. Dancers and performers especially are used to doing these kinds of things. So resilience is the ability for the human to adapt to difficult times, times of distress, tragedy, trauma, challenges. We are able as humans to bounce back from adversity. And that doesn't mean bounce back and everything will be fine along the way. The path to resilience is very much a process, and it can be up and down. So we may feel afraid, uncertain, distressed, and sometimes we may feel joy in connecting with another person, but there are many different layers to feeling resilient, and it's a moment-to-moment process of adapting to the current situation. And as a dancer, as a performer, you have all had the opportunities to face difficulties, rejection from auditions, not getting the gig, not knowing where the next hotel or the tour is when you're on tour. There are all sorts of things that you've had to manage, and you have those inner resources. And so if you can pull on those and know that you have the ability and you have some experience with that, and you do have those tools. The other part I'd just like to mention that the question leads us to questioning the infrastructure of our performing arts culture. We now know that things are very vulnerable. I think all of you can be comforted in knowing that you are able to pull on your inner resources. You can learn new skills, and we have a few of those for you today. And knowing that your structure isn't quite as stable as it might be, or it has been, is a difficult thing to navigate, but all of us have been through adversity, and humans in general have the inner resources to be able to come back from adversity. We can do it, we can help each other. So I hope that helps you to understand that we have the inner resources and we can know some things about how we might help.
Thank you so much, Linda. I think it's comforting to know that it's common for us to feel this way and that we really do have more experience in this than we realize. I was wondering, Paula, if you could speak to the dancers' concern that they wouldn't have enough strength to get through this situation.
I'd be happy to do that. And I'm going to start by clarifying two different concepts that exist. There's this notion of a sensitive personality type, and many performing artists are very sensitive. So what does that mean? A sensitive person feels life with more intensity. Their emotional range is more dynamic. The external stimuli, such as light or sound, comes in with more vibrancy. And their internal awareness is more acute. They're more sensitively attuned to what's going on inside. And there's this concept of porous or thin boundaries. It literally means that as a sensitive person, you can go into a room and you can actually feel what's going on in the room. And that is the essence of where we pull our creative expression as performing artists. We can feel what's happening on the stage. We can feel what's happening with our audience. We can feel it in the studio. So that's the essence of a sensitive personality. Contrary to that, there's this assumption that a hardy personality is somebody who's really robust, who's tough. But what are the components of a hardy person? They like challenge. They actually seek it. And they love to find solutions for problems. They have grit. They'll stick with it. Now, if you look at that on face value, that's exactly what a performing artist does. They build their education and their career on seeking challenges. When they fall down, they get injured, any number of things, they get back up somehow. So you can be both sensitive and hardy. So let's go back to this dancer's question that they are worried that they might not have the strength to survive. A lot of times performers will say, I feel like I'm going to collapse under the emotional pressure. I feel like I'm going to drown with the financial and social demands being placed on me. I feel like I might go crazy. I actually feel like I'm going to snap like a brittle branch on a tree. The cool thing is, you're acknowledging this. You're not denying it. And that's where the performing artists live. They acknowledge these painful realities, and then they find some form of expression. So you may be a very sensitive and yet hardy person, and that's where self-compassion comes in. Be compassionate that you are afraid, and yet as performing artists, we just keep doing it. So you've got the resilience inside. You're both sensitive and hardy.
Yes, the performing artists can be both sensitive and hardy. Acknowledging that we're struggling, it's actually helpful for us to move forward. So now I was wondering, Bonnie, if you could offer us some practical tools. Are there any ways that we can work to strengthen our resilience?
I think we should acknowledge, as we all have, that each dancer is unique. So the strategies for being determined or strong are as unique as each dancer. Each dancer has their own solutions. One or more of these suggestions from Paula Thomson may work, or may be one on which you already rely. Let's open my imaginary dance bag and look inside and find some of the resilient skills that are tucked away in here. As Paula Thomson said, compassion. And that makes us feel more one with each other and feel that we're working together. Kindness to others. Have you had the experience of someone being especially kind to you? Or have you had the opportunity to be kind to someone else? It is easier later on to express compassion to people if we've already practiced it here and now. Oh, another suggestion might be positive emotions. When you experience a negative thought, you can redirect that and enhance positive thought. So, I don't know if I can dance all day. Negative thought, get out of my head. And the gesture helps. Try it. Get out of my head. I am replacing you with a positive thought. I can do it. I will practice. I'm strong enough. Another suggestion. Let's stay open to new experiences. Feeling good about yourself can be related to trying new opportunities. Always wanted to take a Horton class or a Lamone class? Well, now's the chance. Take the challenge. Focus on the successes you've had through the years. Let's take a memory out. Remember when everything came together once and you just danced? You didn't think about it. Remember the feelings from that special moment when the dance just happened. It was easy and flowing and wonderful. It makes this all worthwhile.
Thank you, Dr. Robson, for all these wonderful ideas that we can have in our dance bag to work on our resilience skills. And I want to thank all of our lovely panel and see if I can summarize a bit what you've been saying. So, as I understand, resilience is the ability to adapt during times of adversity, and it's highly individual between all of us, and that performers are often very sensitive people. They feel life with more intensity, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're weak. And grit can coexist with sensitivity, even if it does take us time to recover. So Dr. Robson has given us some great skills to help us support resilience. And we can check our dance bag whenever we need and grab one. And Dr. Thomson, can you give us another closing remark? I know you have a book about creativity, trauma, and resilience, and I think there's a lovely quote you had for us.
Sure, happy to do so. And I want to just say that this quote is actually a summation of vast research findings, and most creative people, performing artists, know this for sure. But here's the quote: "Creativity resides at the heart of human resilience. Even though adversity will always exist within the human condition, embracing the creative resources within us allows us to not only endure, but to prevail. And all you have to do is do a little bit of searching, and you'll find artists who have done just that under adverse conditions, and we're among them. So I look forward to seeing what new works are going to be generated." So thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Paula. And with that thoughtful message, it's time to bring this webinar to a close. And as always, please join us on our website, iadams.org, for additional resources.